Hey everyone, today we're going to learn about circles. We're going to learn what the parts of the circle are and how to find the circumference of a circle. So first, what is a circle? A circle is a set of points an equal distance away from one point called the center. So every point is an equal distance away from the center, and they're all connected to make a circle. Radius. The radius is the distance from the center of a circle to the edge. So that distance that connects the center to the outside of the circle, that is our radius. Circumference. The circumference is the distance around a circle. Okay, it's kind of like the perimeter of a circle. Okay, so the circumference goes around. Okay, so some key words and word problems if we're trying to find the circumference, okay, would be if you're trying to find the distance around, if you're trying to find a revolution. Remember, a revolution is one time around, okay, or a rotation. So if you're like on a Ferris wheel and you want to find out how far will you travel in 3 rotations, okay, you want to find out how far will it be for you to go 3 times around a circle. Okay, so we want to look for those keywords to tell us to find the circumference. And then we have the diameter. The diameter is the distance across a circle. Okay, so from one side of the circle to the other, passing through the center, is the diameter. So let's review those parts of a circle. Remember, radius is halfway across. It connects the center to the outer edge. Okay, diameter is the full distance across. And circumference is the distance around. Okay, so looking over here, it says that the radius, okay, is diameter divided by 2 because the radius is half the distance of the diameter. Okay, so the radius is only half of the diameter, which means that the diameter is 2 radiuses, because if we went from the center to that side and the center to that side, it makes the full length the diameter. Okay, so it's important to remember if we're given the radius and we want to find the diameter, we would just multiply it by 2. And if we're given the diameter and we want to find the radius, we would divide it by 2. All right, so parts of a circle. So here, the 12 inches represents what part of the circle? Okay, it's starting at the center and it's going to the edge, and we call that the radius. So the radius of this circle would be 12. So then, how many inches represents the diameter? Remember, the diameter is 2 radiuses. So I have to go all the way across. So I would have 12 and 12, which makes 24. Remember, the diameter is twice the radius. All right, so on this circle, 14 centimeters represents the what? Okay, it's going from one side, going across the circle, okay, and we call that the diameter. So if the diameter of this circle is 14, how many centimeters would be the radius? Okay, remember, the radius is only half the diameter. So if the diameter is 14, the radius is half of that, and half of 14 is 7. Okay, so 7 would be our radius, 14 would be our diameter. So now let's talk about pi. I'm getting kind of hungry. So the following table contains the circumference and diameter of different circles, and let's explore the ratio between them. Okay, so if the circumference of a circle is 22 and the diameter is 7, and we want to compare them as a ratio, circumference over diameter, okay, if we divide 22 by 7, let's see what we get. Okay, we get 3.1428, and it keeps going. Now, if I take another circle and it's 63 inches around, so the circumference is 63. The diameter is 20, so it's 20 across. And when we divide 63 divided by 20, okay, we get 3.15. Those are pretty close. Okay, so when we talk about pi, okay, so pi has this symbol, okay, and it's on our star chart. We're talking about the ratio of the circumference. So for any circle, if you take the distance around and you divide it by the diameter, the distance across, you should always get pi, which we use 3.14. Pi is a number that keeps going on forever. There's no pattern, and it just keeps going and going. So just to simplify it, we use 3.14 when we're talking about pi. So again, what is pi? For every circle, pi is the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. And so we see it as pi equals circumference over diameter. And that gets us our value, 3.14. And remember, it does keep on going. So why do we have to know pi? So when we want to calculate the circumference or the distance around a circle, it's really hard to take a measuring tape and to measure in a circular pattern. So what we have to do is, if we're given the diameter, if we know the distance across the circle, we can use a formula, circumference equals pi times diameter. So you can multiply the diameter by pi, and that's going to get you the distance around. So remember, circumference is the distance around a circle. But our star chart has two formulas. So we also have a radius. So if you're given the radius, if we know half the distance across a circle, we can use our formula, circumference equals 2 times pi times the radius, and that will get us the distance around. Again, remember, the reason we can multiply 2 times the radius, because 2 radius make the diameter, and that's why we can do pi times diameter. So let's look at some examples. So on this circle, we first want to identify what part did they give us. So they gave us half the distance. So remember, half the distance, that's our radius. Since we know the radius, we're going to use the radius formula. So we need to do 2 times pi, which is our number 3.14, times the radius, which is 12. So when we do 2 times 3.14, we get 6.28. And then 6.28 times 12 equals 75.36. So this circle would be 75.36 inches around. All right, for this example, we're given the length across the circle, which is called our diameter. So if our diameter is 14, we want to use our formula with diameter. So here we just have to do pi, 3.14 times 14, and that's going to get us a circumference of 43.96 centimeters. So our circumference, the distance around this circle, would be 43.96. All right, now there's a few of them for you to try. So if you would, make sure you use your star chart for your formula and identify, do you have the radius or the diameter to decide which formula to use. And then go back and complete the CFU within Schoology and any other remaining assignments. Have a good day.